Ladies and gentlemen, we gather today to explore a profound and timeless theme. In her glow, he found purpose. Let us approach this concept not with the romanticized lens that often distorts our understanding, but through the steady, wise eyes of Stoic philosophy. In Stoic philosophy, the concept of virtue occupies the highest and most sacred place. Virtue, for the Stoic, is not merely a characteristic, but the foundation of a meaningful life. It transcends the fleeting desires of the body, the transient pleasures of the world, and the emotional turbulence of human existence. To the Stoics, virtue is the only true good, the thing that cannot be taken away by circumstances, fortune, or external events. It is, in essence, the measure of a person's character, their ability to live in accordance with nature, reason, and wisdom. This understanding of virtue is essential when we contemplate the deeper meaning of purpose in life. The Stoics understood that human beings often seek purpose in things outside of themselves: wealth, fame, relationships, or success. However, they believed that these external pursuits, while not inherently bad, can never provide true, lasting purpose. These external factors are temporary and subject to change. Wealth can be lost, relationships can end, and even health can deteriorate. If one's purpose is bound to these things, it will always be unstable, like a ship tossed by the waves of fortune. True purpose, then, comes not from the external world but from within. It is found in the cultivation of virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Wisdom allows us to understand the world and our place in it, to know what is truly important and what is fleeting. Courage enables us to act in the face of adversity, to endure hardship without losing our integrity. Justice guides us in how we treat others, ensuring we contribute to the greater good of society, and temperance helps us to control our desires, avoiding excess and maintaining balance. Virtue, in this sense, is an internal compass that directs us toward a life of purpose. It is through the development of virtue that we find meaning, regardless of the external circumstances we face. For the Stoics, it is not what happens to us that defines our purpose, but how we respond to it. In every situation, whether joyful or sorrowful, we have the opportunity to act in accordance with virtue. It is through these actions that we shape our lives and fulfill our true purpose. Moreover, the Stoic perspective on virtue is not about perfection. Stoicism teaches that we are all imperfect and fallible, and it is through the continuous pursuit of virtue that we grow. This pursuit is not a one-time event, but a lifelong journey. Each day offers a new opportunity to cultivate wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, and in doing so, we align ourselves more closely with our true purpose. The Stoics believed that purpose is not a destination but a process of becoming the best version of oneself. In the Stoic view, the cultivation of virtue also brings inner peace. When we align our actions with virtue, we are not subject to the whims of fortune. We no longer need to rely on external validation or the approval of others to feel fulfilled. Instead, we find contentment in the knowledge that we are living according to our highest values. This inner peace, then, is the reward of a virtuous life and the true source of purpose. Thus, the Stoic concept of virtue challenges us to rethink our conventional ideas of purpose. It encourages us to look inward, to focus not on what we can acquire from the world, but on who we are becoming through our actions. In a world that often places value on external achievements and superficial success, Stoic virtue calls us to a higher standard, a standard where true purpose is found not in what we have, but in who we are. By cultivating wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, we find a purpose that is steadfast and unshakable, a purpose that cannot be taken from us by any external force. In the pursuit of virtue, we uncover the meaning of life and in that discovery we find our truest selves. The Stoic concept of amor fati, which translates to love of fate, is one of the most profound and transformative teachings in Stoic philosophy. It encourages us to accept and even embrace everything that happens in our lives, whether it be joyful or painful, planned or unexpected, as a necessary and integral part of the greater whole. The Stoics believed that the universe operates according to a rational, divine order, and everything that occurs, from the rise and fall of empires to the smallest personal event, is part of this natural flow. To love fate is to trust in the process, to relinquish the need to control or resist what cannot be changed, and to find peace in the face of life's uncertainties. When we adopt the attitude of amor fati, we are invited to embrace the ups and downs of life with equanimity, recognizing that every moment, no matter how challenging or painful, serves a purpose. This doesn't mean that we become passive or indifferent to our circumstances. Rather, it means that we choose to engage with life as it is, with all its imperfections and surprises, and to find the lessons and opportunities for growth in whatever we face. It is about accepting the present moment fully, without regret for the past or anxiety about the future. It is an invitation to live with acceptance, seeing each experience as a valuable contribution to our personal development. In practice, amor fati asks us to change our relationship with adversity. Rather than resisting or lamenting the hardships that come our way, we learn to view them as opportunities to strengthen our character. The Stoics believed that challenges were not obstacles to our happiness, but essential experiences that help us cultivate the virtues of wisdom, courage, and resilience. For instance, a setback at work or a personal failure can be seen not as a tragic misfortune, but as a valuable teacher that helps us grow wiser, more focused, and more determined. In this way, we become less reactive to the difficulties we encounter, choosing instead to respond with mindfulness, strength, and an open heart. In addition, amor fati helps us to appreciate the fleeting nature of life. One of the core principles of Stoicism is the recognition of the impermanence of all things. Nothing lasts forever, and everything we experience, whether it be a moment of joy or a moment of sorrow, is temporary. By fully embracing life as it comes, we learn to appreciate the present and to avoid clinging to what is transient. This acceptance of the impermanence of life encourages us to cherish the moments we have and to engage with them fully, without attachment or regret. It reminds us that everything we encounter, including our experiences of love and loss, is part of the grand, ever-changing tapestry of life. In embracing amor fati, we also let go of the illusion of control. The Stoics understood that much of what happens to us is beyond our control. We cannot dictate the weather, control the actions of others, or prevent the passage of time. However, what we can control is how we respond to the events of our lives. By loving fate, we let go of the need to fight against the inevitable. We stop wishing that things were different, and instead we accept them as they are. In doing so, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering, for it is our resistance to what happens that causes much of our pain. Ultimately, the practice of amor fati brings us into harmony with the world around us. It teaches us that we are not separate from the flow of life, but an integral part of it. Just as a single note in a symphony contributes to the beauty of the whole, every experience, every high and low, every success and failure, is a part of our personal journey and the greater unfolding of the universe. By embracing all that life brings, we not only find peace, but also uncover the deeper meaning that runs through all of existence. Amor fati does not ask us to passively accept whatever comes our way. Instead, it empowers us to find joy, growth, and purpose in every moment, trusting that, in the end, everything serves a higher cosmic order. The power of perspective is a central tenet of Stoic philosophy, as it emphasizes the role that our thoughts and interpretations play in shaping our experiences of the world. According to the Stoics, it is not the external events themselves that determine our emotional state or sense of purpose, but rather how we perceive and respond to them. The way we view our circumstances, whether we see them as obstacles or opportunities, greatly influences our ability to live with peace, resilience, and purpose. This shift in perspective is crucial, for it empowers us to control our responses, even when we cannot control the events themselves. At the heart of the Stoic world is the idea that we must distinguish between what is within our control and what is not. While we cannot control the actions of others, the passage of time, or the unpredictable nature of life, we do have full control over our internal state, our thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes. It is through this internal realm that we can exercise true freedom. By changing the way we view challenges, setbacks, and even relationships, we can transform our experience of the world. For example, rather than seeing failure as a definitive end, a Stoic perspective would view it as an opportunity for learning and growth. Similarly, rather than seeing the actions of others as an affront to our happiness, we might choose to see them as part of a larger picture, an unfolding of events that we cannot fully understand but can accept. In this way, the Stoics encourage us to take responsibility for our mental and emotional lives. When faced with adversity, it is easy to become consumed by negative emotions such as anger, frustration, or fear. However, these emotions are often the result of how we interpret the situation, not the situation itself. By adjusting our perspective, we can minimize their impact. For instance, when faced with a challenging task or a difficult person, we can reframe the experience by asking ourselves, what is within my control here? Or what can I learn from this situation? This practice does not deny the difficulty of the moment, but it encourages us to find meaning and purpose in it, even if the lesson is not immediately apparent. The Stoic approach to perspective also teaches us to embrace the notion that life is not inherently fair or predictable. External events often unfold in ways that seem random or unjust, and to resist this reality only leads to frustration. Rather than fighting against the imperfections of life, Stoicism urges us to accept them and to cultivate an attitude of gratitude for whatever comes our way. This does not mean passivity or resignation to suffering, but rather an active decision to respond with wisdom, understanding, and resilience. By embracing uncertainty, we learn to let go of the need for constant control, and instead, we learn to flow with the natural rhythm of life. Furthermore, the Stoic perspective on life encourages us to cultivate a sense of gratitude. The Stoics often spoke of the importance of seeing life through the lens of amor fati, loving one's fate. This love is not just a passive acceptance of what happens, but an active appreciation for the experiences we encounter. By adopting a perspective that sees every moment as an opportunity for growth, we develop the ability to find joy in even the most challenging circumstances. We learn to view adversity not as a personal attack, but as a means to strengthen our character and deepen our wisdom. One of the most powerful aspects of the Stoic perspective is that it is not dependent on external validation or circumstances. Unlike the pursuit of fame, wealth, or social status, which are often driven by external forces beyond our control, the power of perspective remains entirely within our grasp. We can choose to see the world as a place of opportunity, growth, and learning, no matter the external challenges we face. In this way, Perspective becomes a tool of empowerment, enabling us to navigate the complexities of life with clarity and purpose. In the end, the Stoic understanding of perspective teaches us that we are not victims of our circumstances. We are the architects of our emotional lives, and through our perceptions, we shape our experience of the world. By choosing to see life with wisdom, gratitude, and resilience, we align ourselves with the flow of nature, and in doing so, we find a sense of peace, purpose, and meaning that is not contingent upon the external world. The Stoic view of the interconnectedness of all things invites us to see life as part of a greater cosmic whole. It teaches us that nothing in the universe exists in isolation, and that every event, action, and individual plays a role in the larger unfolding of the world. This interconnectedness is a fundamental aspect of Stoic philosophy and offers a profound lens through which we can understand our purpose and our relationship with others. In recognizing the interconnected nature of existence, we come to understand that our lives are not separate from the world around us, but rather deeply entwined with it. The Stoics believed that the universe is governed by a rational, divine order, a principle they called the Logos. The Logos is the guiding force behind all that happens, and everything in the universe, from the smallest particle to the largest celestial body, is connected and part of a larger, harmonious system. This means that every person, every action, every thought, and every moment is part of a grand design that serves a greater purpose. When we embrace this interconnectedness, we begin to see that our individual lives are not isolated or insignificant. Instead, they are integral to the fabric of existence. At the heart of this interconnectedness is the Stoic idea that we are all part of the same human community. This notion challenges us to move beyond a narrow, self-centered view of life and to recognize that our actions have a ripple effect on others. The Stoics encouraged us to cultivate a sense of cosmopolitanism, viewing ourselves as citizens of the world, bound by our shared humanity. By embracing this broader perspective, we come to understand that the well-being of others is intimately connected to our own. To live a virtuous life, therefore, is not only to seek personal growth, but also to contribute to the greater good of society. In this way, our purpose is intertwined with the well-being of those around us. Recognizing the interconnectedness of all things also deepens our understanding of relationships. In Stoic thought, relationships are not mere emotional attachments, but opportunities for mutual growth and the cultivation of virtue. The Stoics believed that we could find our best selves reflected in others, and that the love and respect we show to others are not only acts of kindness, but also opportunities to practice wisdom, justice, and temperance. Through our interactions with others, we are constantly presented with opportunities to refine our character and to embody the virtues that lead to a life of purpose. In this sense, the people we meet and the relationships we form are not random or inconsequential. They are part of the larger unfolding of our own personal journey. Moreover, understanding the interconnectedness of life allows us to accept the inherent unpredictability of existence. The Stoics understood that life is full of twists and turns, and that external events, whether they be personal triumphs, losses, or societal changes, are beyond our control. However, by accepting that everything is part of a greater rational plan, we can develop a sense of peace in the face of uncertainty. We recognize that every event, whether it is perceived as good or bad, plays a role in the larger harmony of the universe. In this way, we let go of the need to control outcomes and instead focus on how we respond to what life presents us. The interconnectedness of all things also encourages us to practice humility. When we understand that we are part of something much larger than ourselves, we become less prone to pride or arrogance. We see that our individual desires, achievements, and challenges are just small threads in the vast tapestry of life. This recognition fosters a sense of gratitude and awe, reminding us that we are not the center of the universe, but rather participants in an unfolding story that is much greater than any single life. With this perspective, we learn to appreciate the role that others play in our lives and to treat all people with respect and dignity, knowing that they too are part of the same interconnected whole. Ultimately, the Stoic view of interconnectedness calls us to live in harmony with the world around us. It teaches us to recognize the value of each moment, each relationship, and each experience, knowing that they are all part of the larger design of the universe. By embracing this interconnectedness, we come to understand that our purpose is not isolated from others or from the world itself, but that it is shaped by the roles we play in the grand scheme of existence. In this way, we find meaning not only in our individual journeys, but also in the collective journey of humanity. When we act in accordance with the virtues that honor our connection to others, we fulfill our purpose in a way that transcends the individual and contributes to the greater good of all. In Stoic philosophy, love is not merely an emotion or a romantic attachment, but rather a transformative force that can lead to personal growth and self-improvement. The Stoics viewed love through a lens of virtue, seeing it as an opportunity to cultivate wisdom, patience, and understanding. Love, when approached in a Stoic manner, is not about clinging to another person or becoming dependent on them for our happiness. Rather, it is about recognizing the ways in which our relationships can challenge us to become better individuals, to live more in accordance with our highest virtues. The Stoic view of love places the emphasis on self-improvement, and it recognizes that love, like all human relationships, is a mirror through which we can see our own flaws, strengths, and areas for growth. When we love someone, we are presented with numerous opportunities to practice virtue. For example, love challenges us to cultivate patience and understanding when faced with disagreement or conflict. It asks us to act with justice and fairness, considering the other person's needs and feelings alongside our own. It also calls for temperance, as we learn to control our desires and emotions in order to avoid unhealthy attachment or possessiveness. The Stoic perspective encourages us to see love as a shared journey of growth rather than a source of personal fulfillment. In relationships, the Stoic recognizes that both individuals are on a path to becoming better versions of themselves, and that love provides the space for each person to support and challenge the other in this process. It is not about seeking to complete one another or finding a sense of wholeness through the other person. Instead, love becomes an opportunity to learn, grow, and practice the virtues that lead to a life of purpose. In this way, love becomes a tool for self-improvement as it constantly pushes us to examine our own thoughts, actions, and motivations. Moreover, the Stoics believe that love, when grounded in virtue, fosters a deep sense of connection and mutual respect between individuals. It is not based on fleeting passion or external attraction, but on a shared commitment to living a virtuous life. When we approach love with this mindset, we are less likely to fall prey to unhealthy patterns of attachment, possessiveness, or dependence. Instead, love becomes an enduring bond that is rooted in mutual respect, understanding, and a shared pursuit of the good. This kind of love transcends the temporary fluctuations of emotion and becomes a steady, grounding force in our lives. Furthermore, the Stoic approach to love helps us cultivate a sense of gratitude and appreciation for the people we love, recognizing that they, too, are part of our journey toward virtue. Love is not just a means of seeking pleasure or comfort, but a way of honoring and cherishing the other person as a fellow traveler on the path of self-improvement. The Stoics recognize that every individual we encounter and every relationship we form provides us with an opportunity to practice the virtues that lead to a life of purpose. In this sense, love is not something that is merely given or received. It is something that is actively cultivated through our actions, our choices, and our willingness to grow. At its core, the Stoic view of love is about recognizing the impermanence of all things, including the people we love. The Stoics understood that attachment to external things, including other people, can lead to suffering when those things are lost. However, they also believed that love, when grounded in virtue, can transcend the transient nature of life. By accepting the impermanence of our relationships, we are able to appreciate and cherish them more fully in the present moment. We are less likely to become dependent on others for our happiness and more likely to find contentment within ourselves, knowing that true love is not about clinging to another person, but about fostering mutual growth and respect. In this way, love, when viewed through the lens of Stoicism, becomes an empowering force, one that challenges us to be better, to grow, and to embody the virtues that lead to a life of purpose. It is not about seeking fulfillment or completion through the other person, but about sharing in the journey of self-improvement together. When we love with virtue, we create relationships that are grounded in mutual respect, wisdom, and compassion, and we contribute to each other's growth in a way that enhances our individual lives and our shared journey toward becoming the best versions of ourselves. The Stoic recognition of the impermanence of life is perhaps one of the most crucial aspects of their philosophy, and it plays a profound role in how we view purpose, relationships, and the world around us. Life, in its essence, is fleeting, and nothing lasts forever. Neither our joys nor our sorrows, neither our successes nor our failures. For the Stoics, this recognition of impermanence is not something to be feared or mourned, but rather an opportunity to live with greater clarity, appreciation, and wisdom. By accepting the transient nature of all things, we can free ourselves from the anxiety of clinging to the past or obsessing over an uncertain future. In doing so, we open ourselves to a fuller, more meaningful experience of life in the present moment. When we understand that everything in life is temporary, it compels us to reconsider our attachment to the things and people that occupy our world. The Stoics believed that the root of much of our suffering lies in our attachment to things that are impermanent, our possessions, our status, our health, and even our relationships. We often cling to these things, fearing their loss, and this attachment creates a kind of anxiety that disrupts our peace of mind. However, the Stoic practice of embracing the impermanence of life encourages us to let go of this unhealthy attachment. By accepting that everything is temporary, we begin to see things for what they truly are, fleeting, beautiful moments that we are privileged to experience, rather than possessions we can own or control. This acceptance of impermanence also invites us to cultivate gratitude for the present moment. Instead of waiting for the perfect time to act or hoping that things will always stay the same, we learn to embrace what is here and now. When we recognize that life is constantly changing, we become more attuned to the value of each experience, no matter how small. A beautiful sunset, a quiet moment with a loved one, or a simple act of kindness These things become infinitely more precious when we realize that they will not last forever. In this way, the Stoic view of impermanence fosters a deep appreciation for the fleeting moments that make up our lives, reminding us that each moment is an opportunity to live fully and with purpose. The impermanence of life also calls us to focus on what truly matters: our internal character and the virtues we cultivate within ourselves. The Stoics argued that while external things are impermanent, the development of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance is not. These virtues are within our control, and they provide us with the resilience and strength needed to navigate the ever-changing nature of the world. When we build our lives around these virtues, we create a foundation that is unshakable, even in the face of life's uncertainties. In this sense, the impermanence of the external world pushes us to focus more on our internal growth, where true purpose and meaning lie. Moreover, the Stoic recognition of impermanence encourages us to embrace change rather than resist it. Change is a constant, and the more we resist it, the more we struggle against the natural flow of life. The Stoics understood that to live in accordance with nature means accepting the inevitability of change and learning to flow with it. Whether it's the loss of a loved one, the end of a chapter in our life, or the transformation of our own character, change is an essential part of our journey. By accepting that change is a natural and inevitable part of life, we can approach it with grace rather than fear or regret. The transient nature of life also teaches us the importance of living with purpose, as the time we have is finite. The Stoics believed that each moment is an opportunity to act virtuously, to live in accordance with reason, and to contribute to the greater good. By recognizing the impermanence of life, we are reminded that we do not have unlimited time to waste. We are called to make the most of every day, to cultivate our virtues, and to contribute positively to the world around us. This awareness of time's fleeting nature serves as a motivator, urging us to live intentionally and with a sense of urgency. Finally, the Stoic understanding of impermanence helps us to let go of regret and future anxiety. We are often held captive by our past mistakes or worried about an uncertain future, but the Stoic practice teaches us that both the past and the future are beyond our control. What matters is how we choose to live in the present, making the most of the time and circumstances we have now. By accepting that the past is gone and the future is unknown, we are free to focus on what is within our control: our actions, our thoughts, and our response to the present moment. In sum, the Stoic recognition of impermanence offers us a pathway to greater peace, gratitude, and purpose. It frees us from attachment to the transient things of life and encourages us to focus on the lasting virtues that define our character. By embracing the impermanence of life, we learn to live fully in each moment, making the most of the time we have and aligning ourselves with the natural flow of the world. In doing so, we find meaning in the fleeting and purpose in the transitory nature of existence itself. In conclusion, the teachings of Stoic philosophy offer a profound framework for understanding life, purpose, and relationships. By focusing on virtue, perspective, interconnectedness, love, and the impermanence of life, we come to recognize that our purpose is not determined by external circumstances, but by the way we choose to live. The Stoic journey is one of inner growth, where we strive to align our actions with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, while embracing the beauty and challenges of life's impermanence. Love, in its truest form, becomes not just an emotion, but a transformative force that challenges us to cultivate virtue, both in ourselves and in our relationships. The recognition that everything in life is fleeting teaches us to value the present moment, to approach change with grace, and to focus on what truly matters: our character and our contributions to the greater good. Ultimately, in her glow, he found purpose, meaning that, through the lens of Stoic philosophy, purpose arises not from attachment to external things or fleeting desires, but from the cultivation of virtue and the acceptance of life as it is. By embracing each moment, finding joy in the journey of self-improvement, and fostering connections with others grounded in wisdom and respect, we create a life of true purpose. A life where, regardless of the circumstances, we find meaning in the pursuit of virtue, and in doing so, uncover the deeper, unshakable peace that comes from living in harmony with the natural world and our highest self. This truly is the essence of a life well lived.